It's week 5 and it feels like we're finally seeing offenses explode, touchdowns being scored, fantasy points galore, except for these guys. Why do these guys suck? If you got these guys on your fantasy team, yeah, you might want to panic right now. And real quick before I dive into these players, I need to let you know 70% of the people who watch this channel not subscribed yet. Help us get to 100K this year so we aren't panicking about our subscriber count. Click that subscribe button really quick. It would help us out immensely. If we've helped you, help us. We'd greatly appreciate it. And we got to start with Derrick Henry. I mean, look, we gave this guy a pass, right? Week 1, he was great, no problem. The last few weeks, like, okay, look, yeah, the offense has struggled a little bit, but he still looks okay. We'll give him a pass, but we cannot give this guy a pass anymore. Okay, he scored to save his day today. Great. Like, it wasn't a complete bust. It should have been a complete bust because they were still giving this guy the ball in the fourth quarter down like 4 scores. I don't know why they were still giving him the ball, but thankfully, if you have him, they were. Come on, 33 yards on 15 carries. Again, did have that garbage, meaningless touchdown to kind of save his day, but you cannot feel good right now. We know Lamar Jackson out again next week. Sure, Lamar Jackson will be back after the bye, and that should help. But I think what the real worry here is this defense. They can't stop anyone. They have given up over 35 points to every team not named the Cleveland Browns this year. Until this defense gets healthy, how are they going to be able to establish the run with Derrick Henry? He'll always have a chance to score because when they get near the goal line, they're going to give him the ball. But you didn't draft Derrick Henry to get you 9, 10 fantasy points to be a touchdown-dependent running back. This is the king. This guy's supposed to be carrying our fantasy teams. Hopefully this defense can get healthy. I think that's what really needs to happen here. But in the short term, you got to be very nervous about Derrick Henry, and I wouldn't even fault you if you want to sit him next week, depending on your other options. And we certainly can't feel much better about his teammate Mark Andrews. 2 catches for 22 yards. I mean, like the whole passing game outside of Zay Flowers, who somehow was okay again because of like a one long catch, it was terrible here. It's Cooper Rush. They're going to be terrible. So, yeah, until Lamar comes back, you really can't feel good about Mark Andrews. But at least when Lamar comes back, we can feel good about Andrews. But until then, yeah, probably want to sit Mark Andrews as well. And AJ Brown, why are you still on the panic video, dude? It's been 5 weeks. You've had one good half of football. It wasn't a good game. One good half. And look, last week you got 9 targets. You turned that into 2 catches for 7 yards. And then you went on like your cryptic like Instagram, Twitter, whatever it was, squeaky wheel, squeaky wheel. Okay, so you go out there and you catch 5 passes for 43 yards. Hey, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. But nobody drafted A.J. Brown for 5 catches and 43 yards. Meanwhile, I guess the real squeaky wheel was Devonta Smith. 8 catches for 114 yards today. Look, he had 8 targets again. Like, you can't complain like Jalen Hurts doesn't throw him the football. Sure, there was a misconnection on what should have been a long touchdown. You're right about that. But still, is that what we're counting on every week? One big play like that? I mean, this guy has done nothing this season except for, again, that one half. I mean, I guess I still got to believe it's going to change at some point here. Maybe. He's too good of a player. It's too good of an offense. You got to think it's got to change. But, I mean, we're 5 weeks in now. If you drafted A.J. Brown, there's a good chance you maybe have won 1 game this year. So, look, if you need to trade away A.J. Brown and try to do something, totally understandable. I think right now we just have to consider A.J. Brown a flex till we see something change. And I don't mean just for one half of football. I mean something change like long-term for an entire game over multiple games. And then can someone please explain to me how one running back is averaging 8.6 yards per carry, the other one is averaging 4, yet somehow they almost get the same amount of carries? Look, this is a frustrating Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. This is frustrating. It just is because it's like Kenneth Walker looks great. You can't watch the game and think to yourself, wow, Zach Charbonnet is as good as Kenneth Walker. No, the only people who say that Zach Charbonnet is as good as Kenneth Walker are the people who have Zach Charbonnet in fantasy and want him to be a thing. Watch the game and please tell me with a straight face that Zach Charbonnet is anywhere near as good as Kenneth Walker. He's not. But that doesn't matter for us, right? Because apparently this Seahawks believes Zach Charbonnet is every bit as good as Kenneth Walker. He keeps vulturing touchdowns here. Again, only 1 less carry despite having 50 less yards. Like, okay, what are we doing here? I mean, come on. You cannot feel good about Kenneth Walker right now. It's not like Kenneth Walker has been bad. It's not like he's performing poorly. But we need our running backs to get volume. We need our running backs to score touchdowns. We need our running backs to catch passes. Not really happening for Kenneth Walker right now. So, look, he's a guy that you're probably going to have to start because look at the running back landscape right now. I mean, we're getting questions about guys like Michael Carter and stuff. So yeah, you're probably going to have to keep rolling them out and hoping it gets better here. Again, I think there is potential because it's not like Kenneth Walker himself has looked bad. It's just we see way more Zach Charbonnet than we should or than we want to. So, yep, Kenneth Walker at this point, you're just hoping he gets a touchdown one week or maybe somehow, some way he pulls away. But I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. And then you got to be full-fledged panic about Alvin Kamara right now. 8 carries for 27 yards. Meanwhile, Kendre Miller, 2 more carries this week for 41 yards. And again, Alvin Kamara isn't even racking up the receptions. Okay, 4 catches, 28 yards. That's not terrible. But if he's not going to get the bulk of the carries, he needs more than that in the receiving game. And this is now starting to look like a trend. Remember last week, Kendre Miller, only 4 less carries. Now we see Kendre Miller more carries. And again, Kendre Miller doing more with his carries than Alvin Kamara. So I don't think this is going to change. I think if anything, we're just going to start seeing more and more Kendre Miller and less Alvin Kamara in the running game. Now, sure, Alvin Kamara will still catch a few passes here, but that's not what we need from our running backs. We don't just need a guy who's going to catch 4, maybe 5 passes and get 7 or 8 carries. That is not fantasy relevant here. That's the land of like, please score a touchdown for me. And sadly, I kind of think that's where Alvin Kamara is at right now. So look, great running back, maybe a Hall of Fame running back. Awesome for definitely a Hall of Fame fantasy running back in his time, but it looks like it might be Kendre Miller's time right now. And Alvin Kamara, yeah, looking very, very bad for your fantasy team at the moment. And then I hate to put Jakobi Meyers on here, but I got to put Jakobi Meyers on here. And it's not Jakobi Meyers' fault. I think Jakobi Meyers is a good player, but come on, 4 catches for 32 yards on 6 targets in a game when Brock Bowers missed against the Colts, where the Colts were down their starting slot corner. But the problem here is Geno Smith. This guy has turned back into a pumpkin. He looks awful this year, just absolutely awful right now. Like nothing like the guy we saw in Seattle. He looks like the guy we saw back with the New York Jets, if you're old enough to remember that. Basically a bust, absolutely terrible, and it's killing everybody here. I mean, I had Jakobi Meyers as a flex all week, and then it's like, Brock Bowers isn't playing. I was like, okay, maybe now you can start Jakobi Meyers. Brock Bowers is out. Well, I guess not. I mean, until Geno Smith turns back into the guy we saw in Seattle, and really at this point, why would we think that's going to happen? We just cannot feel good about Jakobi Meyers. Again, another guy, I'm just going to put him in the flex tier. I don't care if Bowers is playing. I don't even care the matchup anymore because he's had a lot of good matchups this year. At this point, with just Geno Smith, he's just a flex, sadly. And then I don't even know what to call Jameson Williams. I mean, this guy went into last week, week 4, with a 12% target share, then randomly got 8 targets and thought, okay, maybe this is it. Now he gets the Bengals. He could definitely have a big play here. Well, it's hard to have a big play when you get 1 target. One target on the whole game. I mean, come on. This guy's not even a part of the offense. Isaac Tesla got the touchdown today. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs a receiving touchdown. Brock Wright a receiving touchdown. Granted, it was from Monty. Sam Laporta a receiving touchdown. Where is Jameson Williams? He's invisible in this offense. This is crazy because offensive coordinator John Morton talked this guy up all off season. Like, he's going to have a huge year. He's going to be a big part of this offense. Instead, he's been completely invisible. I can't even call this guy a flex anymore. Risky flex. Like, he could kill you. And I don't even know what is even the upside at this point. Like, really, truly, what is even the upside at this point? 1 40-yard touchdown catch? That's it? That's what you want to bank on? No, that's not what I want to bank on. And so much for Woody Marks taking over the backfield in Houston. Outcarried by Nick Chubb 11-7, 61 yards to 24 yards. I mean, ignore the Dameon Pierce part there. That was fourth quarter garbage time. But when the game mattered, like the first 3 quarters, we saw more Nick Chubb than Woody Marks. And Nick Chubb, dare I say, actually looked pretty good today. Maybe he was motivated after last week. And this is always the worry with these rookies. We've seen it multiple times this year with these Genty, Hampton, like truly elite prospects. They kind of show signs and everybody, falls for it and says, this is it. He's taking over. And then the coaches are like, maybe he's not quite ready yet. I think that's kind of what we saw today. Thought against Baltimore, right? Going to get more of the touches, terrible defense. He's going to go off. No, he didn't go off at all. I mean, look, if you added Woody Marks this week, don't drop him back to the waiver wire. He still has long-term potential. Doesn't sound like Joe Mixon's going to play this year, but might just be a little bit longer till we see the Woody Marks takeover because, again, Nick Chubb, more carries today, and actually looked pretty good. And then I know Hockenson had like an okay game today, but I'm still very nervous about TJ Hockenson. We didn't draft TJ Hockenson to give us 9 fantasy points. We can get 9 fantasy points at the tight end position off the waiver wire most weeks. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to happen for this guy. And look, credit to Carson Wentz. He led that drive, the game-winning touchdown, kudos to him. But Carson Wentz looks terrible. And is it going to get significantly better when J.J. McCarthy comes back for T.J. Hawkinson? I don't think so. And remember, he did this with Jordan Addison not even playing the first quarter, barely playing in the first half because of some kind of coach's decision here. When Jordan Addison is like fully integrated with his offense, which is probably going to start next week, what's really the upside for T.J. Hawkinson at this point? I just think he's a touchdown or bust tight end, one of many tight ends you can just pick up off the waiver wire on a week-to-week basis. So sadly, you probably wasted a 5th, 6th round pick on this guy, but it looks like you probably wasted a 5th or 6th round pick on this guy. And then we just can't feel good about any Giants wide receivers right now with Jackson Dart. I mean, Darius Slayton, 3 catches for 31 yards on 6 targets. Granted, he should have had a long touchdown on that flea flicker, but look, Jackson Dart does not have arm strength, okay? He cannot throw the deep ball. Like, you get the ball past 20, 25 yards, it's like, yeah, there's nothing left. There's no oomph on that ball. He reminds me of a better Gardner Minshew, and if you know my nickname for Gardner Minshew, it's Noodle Arm. But at least Jackson Dart could run and do some things athletically that Minshew can't do, so that's good. Wan'Dale Robinson, 5 catches for 30 yards. Like, look, it's a tight end show. 4 catches for 52 yards for Bellinger, 6 for 33 and 2 touchdowns for Theo Johnson. He can't throw the ball deep. It's going to be all underneath short stuff here. So, look, we thought maybe Slayton could replace Malik Neighbors in some form or fashion. And again, if he would have hit on that flea flicker, it would have helped. It didn't help that he fumbled, but I just don't think so. I think, maybe you want the tight ends in this offense, maybe, but I think really the only guys you want in this offense are Cam Skattebo and maybe Jackson Dart. All right, those are guys you should definitely be panicking about right now. But what about some guys that, maybe didn't have great games, but I'm not going to tell you don't panic on them yet. Let's start with Jayden Daniels. Got a lot of questions about Jayden Daniels. People worried, like, oh, the brace, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be limited? And, okay, he wasn't great, but it wasn't because of that. He still ran the ball 8 times for 39 yards. Like, it wasn't because he couldn't run or wasn't mobile. He just only had 1 touchdown in this game. Look, Corey Krosky-Merritt looked great running the football and scored the touchdowns. It's just the way it went in this game, right? It's just one of those games. I'm not worried at all here about JD. He's going to be fine. And then the same thing about the Chargers wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of saw the lad breakout today. I mean, mini breakout, I guess. Look, QJ finally had a down game. Keenan's now had 2 down games, but look, Keenan had a couple bad drops and a couple big plays called back by penalty. It could have been a bigger game for Keenan here. So I'm not worried about these wide receivers, and I'm not yet worried about Justin Herbert either. I know this is like 2 straight games where he hasn't looked necessarily great, but he still ran for over 40 yards. I still think he's going to be okay here. Maybe he's not just like a no-brainer, like set and forget quarterback anymore, but I'm not ready to completely panic on Justin Herbert and do anything crazy like dropping him for Bryce Young or something ridiculous like that. And then Jordan Mason looked like he was going to be an absolute bust this week, right? Fumbled that football, and then it was like he got benched, but they put him back in the second half. He led that drive, scored that touchdown, kind of saved his day. If you're panicking here, I wouldn't be panicking. I don't think he's going to lose his job or anything like that. But what I would be worried about is that Aaron Jones is probably going to be back soon, and that's going to hurt Jordan Mason. Not to mention, we're seeing Xavier Scott somehow get more involved here. So I still think there's a good sell high opportunity on Jordan Mason right now, but that window's closing quick. So I would be looking to deal Jordan Mason right now if I could. And then finally, Chris Godwin. Like, again, another down game here. Like, Puka went off. We saw, like, Tez Walker go off. Sterling Shepard had a touchdown. But, look, he's coming back from a major injury. It's going to take time for Chris Godwin. The good news here is this Bucs offense just chucks a football. Baker is baking. So, look, when he does get fully healthy, I think he's going to be just fine here. Don't panic on Chris Godwin. And if you picked him up, don't do anything crazy like dropping him. But do make sure you're tuned into Fantasy Endgame all week long for all the videos you need to dominate your Week 6 matchup. We're going to have you covered this week. And, of course, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it.